is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
"8:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by J. Yogaraj and read by Niranjan Abesundara. Ambassadors of the US, Germany, India, Russia, China, European Union and Britain met Finance Minister Basil Rajapaksa. Minister Paita Bannerati warned that anyone who violates the quarantine law will be seriously dealt with. COVID update: 1,023 new cases and 955 more recoveries reported. Biodegradable lunch sheets compulsory from August 1st. The cultivation process of 25 million tea saplings commenced today. Sinopharm first dose to be given at the Viharamadevi Park Open Theatre from tomorrow for people in the Western Province. News overseas: Chinese engineers killed in Pakistan bus blast. Sports news: Manchester United striker Marcus Rashford may not play until the end of October after deciding to have surgery on his shoulder. The ambassadors of the US, Germany, India, Russia, China, European Union and Britain met Finance Minister Basil Rajapaksa. This was the first instance that the minister met the Foreign Diplomatic Corps after being appointed as the Finance Minister. Discussion with the ambassadors focused on strengthening the bilateral ties with relevant countries. Mr. Basil Rajapaksa briefed the diplomats the progress on the projects carried out under the Vistas of Prosperity Policy Manifesto. The minister also emphasized the importance of looking for alternative energy sources, including renewable energy sources. Indian High Commissioner commended the performance of Sri Lanka's 4.7 growth in the first quarter. He said the Indian government will continue to support Sri Lanka in its development drive. The German government also promised that the technical and other relevant support will be extended to Sri Lanka without any interruption. American ambassadors said the US will work with Sri Lanka closely to strengthen bilateral ties. Russian ambassadors said Russia is ready to work together with Sri Lanka in the COVID vaccine production. Minister of Health Pavitra Vaniyarati said that the whole world is severely affected due to the COVID-19 pandemic. There is no political agenda on this process. The general public should adhere to health regulations strictly to get rid of this menace from the country. The strict law enforcement is inevitable at this juncture. The minister also alleged that some elements are trying to making protests under the name of trade union action to fulfill their aspirations, and some rank up politicians. This menace also will set a bad example to others in the country. If anyone violates the quarantine law and does not follow health guidelines, he or she will be arrested and produced before courts. The rule of law applies to everyone equally without any difference. No one is above law, the minister added. The minister made the remarks while addressing a media conference at the Health Ministry Auditorium today. The Minister of Health said that 1,453 more persons were tested positive for the coronavirus today, and all new cases have been associated with the new year COVID-19 cluster. This brings total COVID-19 cases confirmed in the country thus far to 270,972. According to official data, more than 21,000 virus-infected people are currently being treated at designated hospitals and treatment centers across the island. Recoveries count climbed to 20,014 today, with 985 more patients who were under medical care for coronavirus returning to health. Meanwhile, death toll from the pandemic outbreak in Sri Lanka reached 3,611. Director General of Health Services confirmed 37 new fatalities today. Environment Ministry has made the use of biodegradable lunch sheets compulsory from August 1st. Environment Minister Mahinda Amravira said. Addressing the media, he said biodegradable lunch sheets should be made available in shops from the said date. Non-perishable lunch sheets made of polythene will be banned from August 1st, and also their production and distribution. However, a grace period of 1 month will be granted to sell the existing stock of lunch sheets which have already been produced. Any new production and distribution of lunch sheets made by polythene will be prohibited thereafter, the minister said. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
People's Bank, celebrating 60 years of empowering the nation.
The general public above 30 years of age in the Western Province are able to get their first dose of the Sinopharm vaccine at Viharama Devi Park Open Theatre in Colombo from tomorrow, Thursday 15th. National Operations Centre for Prevention of COVID-19 Outbreak said. Thus, the vaccination program will be held between 8:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. from Thursday until further notice. The latest community vaccination centre will be manned by armed medical teams, the NOCPCO said. Proof of permanent residence in the Western Province by way of production of national identity card with electricity or telephone bill or copy of the electoral list or residential proof from the Grama Ledari is required to receive the vaccination at this new community vaccination centre at Viharama Devi Park, they said. The Army-managed Community Vaccination Centre at Verahara Base 1, Sri Lanka Army Medical Corps Regiment Headquarters will continue the project as usual. But the Batharamulla Diyatha Uyana Community Vaccination Centre will cease to function beginning from tomorrow the 15th until it resumes operations again on Monday 9th July at 8:30 a.m. and will continue on Wednesday 21st, the NOCPCO added. Health Ministry has introduced a set of regulations with regard to organising functions during the COVID-19 situation. A booklet has been released on the protective measures to be adopted when conducting functions. All relevant parties or the organisers should strictly adhere to these regulations. It should be noted that the organising of events and functions have faced many difficulties due to frequent changes in the travel restrictions and health regulations during the last 14 months. That ends local news for now.
Towards a new dimension in innovation, People's Bank, celebrating 60 years of empowering the nation.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The development and beautification of towns in the long-term development basis will commence at the latter part of this month. The project is carried out under the theme of Vistas of Prosperity. The project will also include infrastructure facility development and other necessary facility extension based on the requirement of the local residents. These matters are discussed in detail at a meeting held at Temple Trees today on the patronage of the Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa. The Premier inquired about the basic arrangements of this project. The town beautification program is one of the important projects which promotes green environment. That was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
On to Watchlight. Health officials request public to follow the health guidelines during this period. Although the travel restrictions are relaxed, passengers are advised to follow health regulations strictly. The public requested to follow special guidelines released by the Health Ministry to control the third wave of the corona outbreak. Health officials warn the further travel restriction will be determined in the future based on the behavior of the general public. That came to in Watchlight. On to world news. Chinese engineers killed in Pakistan bus blast. South Africa Zuma riots, queues form in Durban due to shortages. Texas Democrats defy arrest threats after fleeing to block voting law. At least 13 people, including 9 Chinese nationals, have been killed in an explosion that sent a bus hurtling down the mountainside in Pakistan. China says it was a deliberate bombing, but Pakistan officials are blaming a mechanical failure. The bus was carrying more than 30 people to hydropower plant site in the remote upper of Kohistan region. 2 soldiers were among the dead and a number of others were injured. Rescuers have lifted the injured to hospital. Long queues have formed outside shops and petrol stations in South Africa's port city of Durban, following days of unrest sparked by the jailing of former President Jacob Zuma. Firefighters are cleaning up the mess helped by local residents wielding brooms. Rioters looted and destroyed shops, leading to severe shortages of basics. Some petrol stations have limited the amount motorists can buy as fuel transportation has been disrupted. Democrats from Texas have defied threats of arrest after fleeing the state in an effort to stop Republicans from passing a sweeping new voting law. More than 50 Democrats flew to Washington, D.C. on Monday in a move intended to paralyze the state's House of Representatives ahead of the vote. At least two-thirds of the chamber's 150 members must be present for a vote. On Tuesday, Republican Governor Greg Abbott threatened the missing politicians with arrest. Back to the headlines of the world news. Chinese engineers killed in Pakistan bus blast. South Africa Zuma riots, queues form in Durban due to shortages. Texas Democrats defy arrest threats after fleeing to block voting law. That was world news.
Development News is brought to you by
Quality matters than price. So as an engineer, I recommend Melva RB500. It's made with virgin billets using the latest technology. Melva RB500, number one in Sri Lanka. Truly Sri Lankan.
Many effective measures have been taken to conduct educational activities amidst the corona pandemic. The process and development are continuously monitored for the benefit of the school students. Under the first stage, it is decided to reopen schools, around 3,000 schools having a less number of students in the near future. State Minister P.L. Nishant revealed this information during a media conference held in Colombo today. That was Development News.
Development News was brought to you by
Quality matters than price. So as an engineer, I recommend Melva RB500. It's made with virgin billets using the latest technology. Melva RB500, number one in Sri Lanka. Truly Sri Lankan.
Sports news, it's soccer. Manchester United striker Marcus Rashford may not play until the end of October. I've decided to have surgery on a shoulder injury. Rashford, 23, had a scan after being hampered by the problem in the latter half of 2020-2021 season. The damage was so severe that rest alone would not repair it. United hoped the England striker would have the operation immediately. That is sports news.
Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply. Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
The Colombo Consumers Price Index for all items for the month of June 2021 was 142.4. It records an increase of 2.1 in index points, that is 1.47% compared to the month of May 2021, for which the index was 140.3. Month-on-month change was contributed by increases of food items by 1.25% and non-food items by 0.21%, respectively. Increases in value change were reported for rice 0.54%, vegetables 0.37%, sea fish 0.15%, coconuts 0.09%, and other food products. That was Business News.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money. Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
The cultivation process of 25 million tea saplings commenced today. Inaugural ceremony was held this morning at Gaul in the Karapati area under the patronage of the Minister Dr. Ramesh Patirana. A sum of 5,000 rupees has been granted to tea cultivators with the sole purpose of promoting the tea cultivators to double their production. That is economic news.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
Weather Report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
The Met Department says conditions are favourable for the formation of evening thunder showers at several places in the north, central, east and Nuva provinces and in the Mullaitivu district during the next few days from tomorrow. Several spells of showers will occur in the Sabaragamuwa, western, central and southern provinces. The public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during thunder showers. This weather report was published this evening at 7 p.m. Further details could be obtained by visiting the official website of the department. Meanwhile, International Weather Forecast website AccuWeather.com predicts that today's daytime temperature would be around 31 Celsius. There will be light showers in any place in Colombo district in the night. Tonight's temperature will be around 20 Celsius and there will be scattered showers in selected areas late in the night. Ground temperature would be around 30 Celsius. Air quality index is 17, which shows fair condition in Colombo. The air quality is generally acceptable for most individuals. That was the weather report.
Weather Report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
Back to the headlines of the news. Ambassadors of the US, Germany, India, Russia, China, European Union and Britain met Finance Minister Basil Rajapaksa. Minister Paitru Banerjee warned that anyone who violates the quarantine law will be seriously dealt with. COVID update, 1,453 new cases and 955 more recoveries have been reported. Biodegradable lunch sheets compulsory from August 1st. Cultivation process or 25 million tea samplings commenced today. Sinopharm first dose to be given at the Viharama Devi Park Open Theatre from tomorrow for people in the Western Province. News overseas, Chinese engineers killed in Pakistan bus blast. Sports news, Manchester United striker Marcus Rashford may not play until the end of October after deciding to have surgery on his shoulder. That in the news tonight.